Live. I believe we are live. Just give me a second to double check. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thoughts on Historicals, where it's my little book club with my friends Genevieve and Bonnie talking about historical romances. My name's Lisa. Welcome to the channel. I'm sure you guys already know who I am, but I run this channel where I talk about romance books. I talk about historical romances a lot this year, and I have a great time about it. And I recruited two of my friends from Instagram and from their respectful websites to talk to me, to talk about historical romances with me. So Genevieve or Bonnie, whoever wants to introduce themselves first or next.
Okay, I'm Bonnie. I love romance. I've been running a book blog for over 10 years now. So, I just read it all. So
Yeah.
And that's me. I mean, not much else to me. So
Bonnie is our historical romance expert. She knows everything and to do with historical romance and romance novels. So she will be filling in the gaps of our knowledge when we make comments. Okay.
I'm Genevieve. I am new to historical romance, so I'm like the new to the genre person here. I'll be taking the hot takes.
She'll be discussing and roasting all the covers that we will be bringing up. She'll point out all the mistakes, and we'll be like,
speaking of covers, who are these people? I don't think these are our hero and heroine.
It's like a clip art photo that they found back then.
I know, first of all, he has dark hair. And second of all, she is like 42 years old.
Oh God. The hot takes are already starting.
Yeah.
And
hey, I like it, so
it's pretty though.
It's a pretty cover. It's just not this story.
It's not the story, but at least it's a pretty cover, I mean, there's worse that there could have been from the 90s, so
that's true.
And then also Genevieve is the artist for my cover for my booktube channel art. I always like to give her credit for it because it's beautiful. I love it so much. So anyways, I should have linked everybody down in the description. So go ahead and give them a follow on Instagram. Go ahead, check out their blogs. Bonnie's blog is very resourceful. Recommendations everywhere. So this month's group read was Bewitching by Jill Barnett, and Bonnie will like to give a synopsis of this book because we suck at giving synopsis.
Yeah, so in this book, we have our hero, Alec, who is the Duke of Belmore. And he grew up with a very strict background. So his dad was very like, you can't have love, you can't have joy or any happiness. Like, you're a duke, you're going to be a duke. So it's all duty and obligation, responsibility. That's going to be your life. And so he kind of grew up in a very, strict upbringing. And he kind of is this stoic type of hero that doesn't know love. He's never really understood joy or happiness, really. And so he feels like it's his time to get married and produce an heir. So he thinks he has found a suitable wife until she jilts him the day before the wedding. So he's not exactly in the best of moods upon hearing that, And then he meets a peddling woman who tells him the next woman he meets will be his next wife and will be the woman he marries. And she'll bring some interesting joys into his life.
Yeah, she says, you'll never be bored again.
Yeah. And lo and behold, the next woman he meets, Joy, definitely brings some interesting complexities to his life he never imagined. And yeah, it's chaos and magic unite.
Yeah. So it's like historical romance mixed with like paranormal, mixed with like, I want to say fantasy. I don't really know if we can classify
it's paranormal historical set Regency era. It's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is. And it's like, it's the type of like paranormal that's like fun. It's
Mhm.
not, it's like bed
Serious.
knobs and broomsticks type of magic. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a lot of serious notes to it. So
Mhm.
yeah. So
And
it
we
made for a very fun, lively, you know, setup.
Yeah. And we picked it specifically because it is Halloween. It is spooky season. We wanted to read historical romance, and we picked one with a lot of magic in it. It was super, well, it was super fun. We all have our individual comments about it that we're holding on to. But we are like, Genevieve and Bonnie probably have notes. I just have them in my head. But let's go
I didn't
around.
make notes. I should have probably, but
Oh, but you already have it all in your head because it's all searing in there because like you just know everything. So let's go around and like let's discuss our ratings. So I'll start and I'll say that I'm giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I rounded it down to 3 on Goodreads. And the reason why I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 stars is because while I liked the romance between the two characters, I liked how it's grumpy sunshine and a stoic hero. He was just so set in his ways up until like the very end, and it made it harder for me to fall in love with him. And then also I mentioned this in the group chat that you guys aren't a part of, like the live chat, but I mentioned it to Bonnie and Genevieve that I didn't really know what the plot was. There was like really no driving factor except for them getting married and just having a great time getting to know each other. So then that's why it was an enjoyable read, and I would recommend it to read it during the spooky season as well as in winter because there's a lot of snow involved. So that's just my rating. Whoever wants to go next to discuss their reasons and their ratings.
you should go first. I don't know.
Okay, so Bonnie will go first then.
Okay, I'll go next. So I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I really like this. It was a very comforting read for me. Just the writing style was I miss historicals written like this. I kind of really do. Historicals are not written in this style anymore.
Yeah.
So it just felt very comfortable to just immerse myself into this book. And I really liked a lot of the things that happened. The hero, I mean, I feel like there is a lot of slow character growth here. So, you know, that's why it takes him so long, is because he was raised in a way that it's very realistic to how probably dukes and title lords were probably raised back then, and where they didn't really experience a lot of good things in their lives. I mean, they had the wealth, but that doesn't bring true happiness, right? And so you kind of see the complexities to that, which I really liked. Now I felt like the pacing was a little bit off in the first half a little bit. It went in and out for me. And then there is lots of angst in this book. And this style of angst isn't necessarily my favorite. So that's really what kept it from a 5-star for me. But I really like the second half of the book. I loved everything. So
Sure. When they
especially
got to, yeah.
especially the ending and the epilogue was just perfection for me. So yeah.
I liked it when they got comfortable with each other too, as well. Like
Yeah,
when
like
they know each other.
yeah, when they started to really like compromise and learn to accept each other and understand each other better, that's when their romance started to really blossom. So
yeah. Okay. All right, Genevieve, your rating and reasons.
Guys, I did not like this book. This was a 3 and I'm rounding up from like a 2.5. I did not like this book.
Fair enough.
Mainly, okay, first of all, he's a dickhole. I hate him so much. He is not a good guy. But also, my biggest problem with it, and it's something that was on the synopsis on the back, and Bonnie didn't mention it, is that someone comes into his life that he didn't know about, and he is the reason that he changed his mind about his romance with Joy, and not because he felt certain ways of her by herself. My main thing was that someone else had to enter this story for him to come around and love her. I just was like, "Ugh, this," and that to me felt like the writer had like written herself into a corner, and she was like, okay, how do I fix this? That's what it felt like to me. So she had to like bring something new into the story that was like, it blindsided us as a reader, like, oh my gosh, like what? And that was my biggest pet peeve about this, was that it wasn't Joy and Alec that was making their romance work. It was Joy and Alec and someone who came into his life. So I was like, I don't feel like this is realistic at all. So yeah, I didn't really care for it.
All right, Bonnie, do you have any counter argument? You said you like the half a lot.
No, this is like nothing against, like, the beginning was so fun and I was having so much fun. Like, she's kind of a Looney Tune. She's kind of like a space cadet. She's like making out with the window. And I was like, I love her. But then it kind of like, he just kept saying, you need to change for me. You need to stop being who you are and you need to be what I need you to be. I feel like he was never meeting her. And then that thing at the end where I was just like, oh, what is happening? So yeah, like, I felt like that was a weird wrench in the system.
I feel like, so I can definitely see the reasons you struggled with this one. I can.
You're so diplomatic.
Are we gonna start a fight on a live show?
No. Just my problem with this story.
Yeah. So, and I actually felt like, through, like, especially the first half of the book, he was pushing her to be something that she wasn't. Granted, if you understand history and how they treated women who they thought were witches, I think he was more scared. He was terrified for her because she could die easily. I mean, they could have just killed her like that if they found out who she was, right? Or what she was. And so I felt like part of it was fear for her and her safety. And so he needed her to adapt to being a duchess and doing all the right things because he didn't want her in danger. You know, like, I feel like, yeah, he could be stoic and all of this stuff, but he was still a protector. He still wanted to make sure that she didn't end up revealing herself to the wrong people, right? So I feel like that's part of the motivation behind it, is he was more fearful of what could happen if it was revealed. And so, but also, you know, with how he was raised, there are certain expectations he knew of. And, you know, and he does slowly change. Like, he does change. He starts to slowly accept her, but it's very slow going. It's slow built. And so it doesn't happen overnight at all. You've got to.
I don't think we're ever going to agree on this. Yeah, I don't think.
But also, I have seen this a lot in older historicals. This type of plot you will see in a ton of historicals, older historicals. So I've seen it a lot, so it doesn't bother me. But if you're newer to it, you might struggle with it more.
Like, dude, like, you got yourself into this mess. Why do you expect her to bend around you? I was like so mad at him.
Yeah.
I was talking to Genevieve before we started the live show about how this one reminds me of like the older Joanna Lindsay novels, because we have a very overprotective hero who is very dominant and who wants to like take charge of the situation. And that's like just the vibe of older historicals. Like, that's just how it was back then. So I feel like when you're reading like an older historical romance, you have to go into that mindset that the writing and the plotting was different back then, and as opposed to what we're reading right now. So yeah. So I can see both sides. Any other thoughts on this book?
What did you think, Lisa? Like,
yeah,
give us your hot takes here.
I feel like my hot takes are going to be like a little bit mean. I feel like I was just like, what's the point of this book? Like, I was just reading it.
Like, why try, Jill?
Like, okay, like the first like 20% of the book, I was like, okay, yeah, like, you're gonna get married right away. Okay, sure. You don't even know this chick. go for it, sure, whatever. And then like we have into this like lull area where they're like literally being a married couple and they're getting to know each other, but it was just like day-to-day activities. You know, at some points they were like, what, they were milking a cow and they were trying to figure out how to milk a cow. And I was just like, this is a chapter? Like, where are we going with this? I listened to audiobooks, so like there are obviously going to be some scenes where I don't know how long it is in the physical book, but in the audiobook I was listening to like 3.6 times the speed because I just wanted it like go. But also because I started this book today, like the day of the live show, and I was like, I can do this, guys. Like it's like a 14-hour audiobook, but I'm like, if I put the work into it, I could do it. But yeah, like I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say I would go to the next book because Genevieve has book number 2.
Yeah, and I was see that Charles was saying this came out in 2020. This is one of those cases where it came out before and the author probably got the rights again after a while and re-released it on her own. Because this did not come out in 2020. This is an older book. But yeah, I mean, I still want to read the second one because this is about like the crazy girl who's obsessed with the guy and like keeps injuring him. And I want to know more about that. But yeah, this one I had a lot of difficulty with this one. So I'll be interested to see how this one develops.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, I want to read the second book. So
like I didn't even have a physical copy of this book, and I was like searching for it, and I was like praying to God that my library had it. So yeah.
Yeah, if your library had it, it would have been an older one, because now I don't think they would acquire these
like a physical copy.
Ones. Mm-hmm.
I was praying to God that they had an ebook version.
It depends on your library though too. Like my library carries a lot of older romance too, older historical romance. So, you know.
Well, it depends on your community. Like if they haven't been checked out in a while, they will weed those books out. So yeah, if your community isn't checking out those older ones, they will just get rid of them.
Did you guys so going back to Charles's comment, just pointing him out, but did you guys see how Judith McNaught's books are being republished with like new covers and it's like bigger too as well? They're so pretty. I mean, I like it. I'm sure Genevieve will say some stuff about it and be like, these are ugly.
No, you guys, I mix up Julie Garwood and Judith McNaught so much. Like I'm trying to remember which books are which.
Judith McNaught writes they're longer. They're longer books. Yeah. Way longer. They're like most of them are like 500 pages. So they're bigger. And they tend to have a lot more angst in them normally. But Kingdom of Dreams is one of my favorite books. I love that book. That book's so good.
Yeah, these ones the new ones have like pretty girls on the cover. I mean, same with the Julie Garwood ones.
Julie Garwood has new covers coming out, and I like those a lot too. So
Julie Garwood has new ones coming out. What?
Yeah, you didn't know?
They're redoing all of those ones. The one for
you know what? That's how you make money.
The one for the bride. What is the one that's coming out soon? There's one with like the woman pirate on the cover. That one like just came out.
That's the gift, I think. Isn't that the gift? I think that's the gift.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, and then they did a new Ransom cover, which I really like. For Ransom, I really like.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
We've talked about this one before.
Pretty. Yeah. It really fits like the book too, the story. I don't know if you guys have read Ransom, but
Julie Garwood, I think, have the women closer to the camera. I think the ones for the Judith McNaught, they're like a little bit farther away.
Yeah, and I like the clothing that they wore, that they have them wearing on the newer covers too. So, like their dresses are very
rebranding these older historicals.
It's how you make money and get people to read these authors again.
Yeah,
it's like with Leigh Greenwood, his books. I think I was telling you, Genevieve, about this. But the Seven Brides, which is really it's one of his first series that he did. And they rebranded not just the covers, but the titles. So when I first saw A Resolute Man, and they're all over Barnes and Noble. So if you go to your Barnes and Noble, you'll see these everywhere.
Well, because the original titles were like Rose, Lily.
Yeah, or Lily, yeah.
So like they have nothing about the story.
So until I bought A Resolute Man and I started reading that, I'm like, wait,
oh, no.
I've read this before.
Oh no. Yeah, they're republishing older books. with a new cover. I mean, it just means more money because they usually do a good job with the new covers, and it just makes me want both, like the old eBay version that I'll find on.
Well, we talked
Yeah,
about
and
this on the
especially
last one we did with, or Lisa and I did, where they redid Joanna Lindsay's with the Hawk and the Doves cover.
yeah, I still don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest.
When
I
that
love
was
Joanna
released-
Lindsay, so
Yeah, when that one was released, when they did the whole rebranding thing, I remember it blowing up on Instagram, and everybody was like saying, like, why are they just taking a different cover? Like, did they think that we wouldn't know? But like true romance readers, I guess, would know, and like true like stalkers of covers, I guess, will know too as well.
Well, like the other two in this series that came out before had like really yellow covers, the new ones that they just did for these ones. And then this one they did like the full illustrated. I mean, they didn't do it. Someone like 30 years ago did it, but they like branched out and did something different than those ones.
yeah, it's interesting when they republish. I feel like Sourcebooks does a pretty good job of
Oh yes,
republishing books, and the covers that they do. They've done a lot of old school stuff.
was it
Like they
Betsy
made Roseanne Bittner
Dawn?
popular again, and they made
Laura Kinsale? They
Laura
rebranded.
Kinsale, I think they
Yeah.
did. And then there's another author. They did this whole series. It's like a on the sea type of epic love type series. I can't remember the author right now. But Laurie McBain. Laurie McBain. That's
Oh,
her.
her, yes.
They rebranded her. And so yeah. So I thought they did a really good job with those covers too.
Well, they're
So,
like rebranding books like in the middle of a series to be completely different too, and it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, you like
Yeah.
invested all that time doing this one, and now you're doing another one, and you're just confusing your readership. So
Changing the
It-
whole
it can't-
size.
it can be confusing unless you're familiar with it all and you know what they're doing. But yeah, publishers are starting to make these older books popular again. So which
Yeah.
isn't a bad thing. So
It's not. It exposes more like readership, I guess. Right? Because like more people can discover historical romances. Speaking of you buying a book, didn't realizing that you already read that book, and then you're reading it and wait, I read this before. I did the same, but it wasn't historical romance, but it was a Laurie Foster romantic suspense novel. And I swear to you, I listened to like an hour of the audiobook already at like 3 times the speed. So that's 3 hours of the audiobook. And I wanted to add it to Goodreads as I was reading, like the statuses reading. And I saw my like 2017 review of it. And I was like, wow, I just wasted like a whole hour of my life listening to a book that I've already listened to. And like, that's how not memorable that book was. But yeah.
yeah,
Sad time.
some books, especially like, I mean, especially when you have authors that publish a lot, it can be
Yeah.
easy to get them mixed up, you know.
I know. And they have to put
Like-
those stickers that says like never been published before, first time in print,
Mhm.
just to make sure
Yeah.
that you know.
Yeah, especially if they have a big backlist like Laurie Foster has so many books.
Right.
So it's easy for them to get lost, I feel like.
Any other historical romances that, you know, are on your TBR right now, or like that have caught your attention that are coming out very soon? One of them that I'm excited for because the cover is just really pretty is the new Stacey Reed's Entangled Romance, historical romance cover. I don't know what the title's called, but that one's
is that
really
the purple
pretty.
one that's coming out in December?
I think it's more blue. Let me double check.
I did pre-order.
A Scoundrel.
That
of
cover
Her-
is beautiful. That cover is
Is
really
it the
pretty.
purple one? Or
No,
is it blue?
it's
It might be.
blue. Yeah.
Yeah,
She has
yeah,
blonde
it's-
hair and it's just flowing in the wind.
I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered this in the Target 2 for 1 or 3 for 2.
It's so pretty. And then obviously I have to read Lorraine Heath's latest novel. What's it called? Once Upon a Dukedom, like the series. I have to read that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't read
Oh,
that
yeah,
series
Duchess-
yet. I want to.
Duchess
So
Hunt. Yeah.
So
What else? I did just
oh,
order a
what's that
bunch.
stack of books back there?
These
Like
are
this
ones that I
summer.
just ordered. So this is The Brightest Star in Paris, and then I
Oh,
just
yeah,
ordered the
that
one
one.
that comes before it because I haven't read that one either. I've got Donut Fall in Love. That's not
Ooh,
historical though.
You were
It's so
talking about
cute.
pre-orders, and I was getting so mad at like the Canadian bookstore of like
Uh-huh.
equivalent of Barnes and Nobles. I was like
Is that
ranting on it.
Indigo?
Yes, I was ranting to Indigo about like what's the point of me like freaking pre-ordering books when they give you no communication that the books are delayed, and like no communication if like they're shipped or not, and like just no status updates on the delivery. So a bunch of these books I pre-ordered, when I go into stores, I see it on the shelves, but I don't see it shipped in my account. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
that's super annoying. They should fulfill those reservations before they do anything.
I know. Or they at least should mimic Amazon and their process where they update delivery date and go like, we've update your delivery date for this book. And I'm like, I didn't remember I bought this book, but thank you for letting me know. Anyways, Bonnie, what are you reading?
So I'm really excited. So Roseanne Bittner's coming with a 5th book in the Outlaw Heart series,
Oh, yes.
which I did not know
You told me
until
about
like this
this,
past
yeah.
week, and I'm like so excited. They're like my favorite couple ever.
Did
I'm so excited.
do you actively request arcs for it? So like, did you get like a new like advanced reader's copy, or did they have any?
She didn't even, she's not even putting it. I think she self-published this one, which was
Okay.
interesting because all the others were done through source books, and I know they probably would be thrilled to do it for her. So I'm not exactly sure why she self-published it. But I mean, it's not even on Amazon yet, but it's coming out in 2 weeks. So yeah, so she didn't do any galleys or anything for it.
Yeah.
So probably because the series is pretty, I mean, if you like Westerns, it's pretty popular. So once it comes out, you know,
It just
there is a
This
support for
series.
it. So yeah, that
This
series
one.
right there. Yeah, that's them. So
I've got my stack of books
Yeah.
for you guys. Sorry, I was able to just yank it right out.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
perfect.
And then the new Julianne Long with the Christmas cover.
Oh, yes.
I want to read that one so bad. It's so like festive, and I just love. It's so cozy. I love it.
Is it Julianne Long, the one that just came out with that book with the green cover with the heroine who's like doing a really
like
weird
the-
face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red hair.
It has like the.
I have thoughts about that cover.
They didn't. I don't know what happened with 2021 fall releases with Avon, but the photoshopping was just too bad, and like
I
the
can't tell
angles
if
of the
it's supposed to be an
body.
illustration or a photo. Like it's like
Yeah.
so in between. Like
Eloisa, I think Eloisa James or whatever, her like hip, like her new cover, her hip was like you had to like dislocate your hip in order to pose like that girl on the cover.
oh, the one that
She was
she
wearing
just
pants.
announced.
It's the one that she was wearing pants, and she's a stage actress, and she just wants to be an actress. It's
Oh,
like,
is this from her Lindo Castle one?
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
the series.
it's the Wilds. It's the
Yeah, the
Wilds
Lindo
of Lindo
Castle?
Castle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she's still writing in that series. So yeah, some
Is she?
covers are kind of weird.
I thought
like
that series was done.
No, I feel like it's keep going.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's done.
Okay.
I think
mean,
she's still.
I am like
doing
the
it.
village idiot when it comes to historical romance, but I thought it was done.
It might be, but I didn't think it was. I thought she had one more in the series coming out next year, but I could be wrong.
She's like, did I mention this to you guys on my last live? How she's like really good at TikTok.
You did, yes, you did say this.
So funny. Her books.
I don't know how to use TikTok, and
her
her books are hit and miss for me. Sometimes I love them, and sometimes I don't. Like the first one in the Wilds, I DNF'd. But
you didn't like Sarah MacLean's latest novel too, right?
Oh no, I DNF'd that 70% DNF. No more.
I saw on her Goodreads, and I was like, I mentioned
that was
it.
bad.
Yeah, I mentioned.
Yeah, in the chat, you were so like heartbroken about how you didn't
was
finish
so sad.
it.
Yeah.
But she was.
I did not
Bonnie
like it.
was already like, iffy about it. She was like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna get the audio book because I don't think I can read her writing. And I was like, okay, if Bonnie's already like this, then I'm definitely gonna be way down the list because me and Sarah don't do well either.
Yeah, and I 5-starred her Bare Knuckled Bastard series. I love those books.
I don't like those.
I don't like those either.
Like The Road Not Taken.
Yeah. So like her first series is her best books in my opinion. I think those are her best work.
Was that the 9, 10, 11 books? Okay.
Yeah, those were like that was her debut series, and those were so good. I love those books so much. But this last one, it was just so unbelievable, outrageous, like ridiculous nonsense. I mean, she acted like a teenager.
Which means I'll probably love it.
Probably. You'll probably love it. But I just was like, no, I wouldn't even want to be friends with this girl. Like
Yeah,
she's
because
so spoiled.
Yeah, the synopsis
like,
is that she always gets into trouble and she needs someone to
Yeah.
protect, like, you know, rein her
And the
in.
way she acts is just like, okay, like I would be like embarrassed if my siblings acted like that when they were 14, you know? Like it just, she's 30 plus years old. So I'm like, it's just no.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. And there were so many modernisms, like words like awesome and I was like a lot. Awesome was all the way through it. And I'm like, no.
Maybe that's a little too much.
Okay, I'm looking forward to reading this now.
So I couldn't. It was just, I'm like, no. I mean, if people enjoy it, I'm happy for them, but I don't think I can read her anymore. So it's sad because I used to love her books. You know, I've loved a lot of her books, but I like her as I just can't.
I like her as a person. How about that? And as a person.
Yeah, I love her as a person. Yeah.
I just don't
and
like
she's
her
done
books.
a lot. She's done a lot for the community and everything.
Much. I just don't like her books. So I don't really.
Yeah, and her writing is not going to vibe with everyone because a lot of her books are very the pacing is what I have struggled with a lot over the years. So that's why I switched to audiobooks, is because pacing, I never know what to expect with her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See, and I loved her Rogue Not Taken audiobook, but with the first Bare Knuckle Bastards book, is that The Wicked and the Wall? Is that which one is that? Okay. Yeah. That one I was like so bored with that audiobook. So those are really hit or miss for me too. Like I could not tell you what happened in the first half of the book. I finished it halfway through and I was like, I cannot because I don't know what just happened.
I listened to that audiobook twice, like halfway through, but kept giving up around the halfway through. And I just couldn't get through it. It was just so boring. Boring. Somebody mentioned that they're reading the latest Lenora Bell novel, and I'm
looking forward to that one.
It's not my favorite one of the series so far for Lenora's like latest series. Let me look it up what the series is called.
I like how the first trio that I have from her, it's kind of like there's like a James Bond storyline running through that I really like.
Which one is that? School for Dukes.
What a Difference a Duke Makes, that one. That has like James Bond ones. And the woman, his like assistant's name is Mina Penny. It's like Money Penny. And then hers is the next book with the brother from the next series. So I like how they're like are connected. I don't know why she just didn't make them all one series, but
maybe like a contract thing, maybe with Avon, but then also like she did the whole Julia Quinn world building where she like linked in with all these characters from her series into the thing, and then in her like latest novel, if I remember correctly, The Devil's Own Duke, that one, there was like a lot of other characters from her other books were in there too as well, and that was interesting. I like The Devil's Own Duke, but there was also parts of it that I was very iffy about, specifically because I like a character with strong morals and with like great ethics, because it gets very.
Is this the purple cover one? The one that just came out?
Latest one. It gets really angsty for me when they're straight up lying to each other, because it takes a lot to grovel and apologize afterwards, right? So then that's why with me and Lorraine Heath, I'm always like, where are we going with this? Like, why is this plot like so complicated? Why are these characters like so like sometimes unethical? Just like kind of like.
Are we talking about the same series? You said Lorraine Heath. We're talking about Lenora Bell.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Like, Lorraine
I was like, whoa.
And Lenora Bell, like they did like the same thing with ethical issues. But anyways, Lenora Bell's latest book, what happens is that our hero lies about his status to get in there so that he can gain the dukedom, and then he can make changes in the laws that was happening
You see, I haven't started this one yet, but my biggest problem already with it is the cover.
It's the cover.
I do not like his hair on that cover. It's like a mop. He looks like a Muppet.
Yeah, like even her face looks like Barbie. I don't know what they did with her face. Her face looks like a Barbie thing.
Her hair is like obviously a wig too. It's like way too big.
Yeah, and you can't tell if this is a painting or a real person, but it's probably a real person. And they try to make it look like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one also had animals in it, and it had 2 cats. So cute. It was like a different storyline. So I was reading for those cats. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to this
honestly,
one.
I've only really loved one book from Lenora Bell.
Oh no!
What a difference the Duke makes is like the only one. I think I 5-starred that one. I loved it.
It was so fun. I love her.
It was so cute. It was like Mary Poppins.
So yeah.
Like I really love Mary Poppins retellings. I do. So I loved it, but like it was more like I've struggled with her pacing. I have a hard time getting into her books. All the books after that, I just couldn't. It was just very slow. So, yeah.
For me, I didn't think it was slow. I actually thought it was kind of fast. Like the next book in the series after that for School for Dukes, after What a Difference a Duke Makes, was For the Duke's Eyes Only. And we literally like walked in chapter 1. She's disguised as a man. Then she gets caught by her brother's best friend. And they're already like backed up in this like tiny room and like they're about to make out.
Oh wait, that's the one I like. The one where she's like trying to find the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, like I think she's like trying.
That's
like,
the one I really like. We have such different tastes, you guys.
I like that one a lot because I'm a sucker for a girl who gets herself into trouble and having someone to rein her in, but done well. Unlike Sarah MacLean's novel that Bonnie didn't like, that she just
also she's like clearly intelligent and super competent, and I really love it when a heroine is that.
She was like, I know everything. I have every right to be in this room. Same with every other like smart person here, but like it's just because what's between my legs is different. The reason why I can't be in that room. I find that Lenora also writes like characters who are really smart and brilliant. Like they all have different careers, and that's pretty cool too as well.
I love a career lady.
I know. Yeah, so I never read Lorraine Heath's new novel yet, The Duchess Hunt, but I'm very excited.
I want to read it.
Yeah.
I loved the first one.
The first one
finished it.
What was the nickname that he gave her? Sunshine? No, Freckles. Fuck, it was something.
What did I just read? I just read something that was Freckles, but I don't remember if it was that one. Maybe it was that one. Because I listened to the audiobook when we were on vacation. But you guys,
I think I wrote it in my review.
So many, they all bleed together.
They do.
All these like pet names just get me going.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have your top authors that you'll remember their books. Like Joanna Lindsay, I remember the plot of really every book that she has. Okay, because I've also reread a lot of her
Did you read them when you were younger? Were they like some of your first ones?
They weren't my very, very first ones, but they were some of my first ones. So
that's probably why you remember them so well, because they like made such an impression on you.
And also the library at the time didn't have that much romance. So there was only so much I could choose from at the time until I switched libraries.
Like Beauty and the Beast. Like I've read these all before.
Yeah, pretty much. So I would reread all Lisa Kleypas, all the Joanna Lindsay, Kathleen Whittiwis, Donna Fletcher. They had tons of Donna Fletcher and Victoria Alexander. So all of those books I read so many times. And Lorraine Heath, they had a lot of Lorraine Heath. So yeah. So I know, like, especially Lorraine Heath's, like, all of her Westerns, I know by heart. Like, I loved all of those books. They were so good.
There was one that I really loved from Joanna Lindsay. It's called Say You Love Me. I reread that.
Yes, Derek's book. It's Derek's.
I don't know about you guys, but I love it when the hero has to come save her from an auction. I don't know why. It's like specifically like the auction part.
So like,
very
her uncle. So like her uncle is selling her.
Yeah.
Okay, he's putting her on the auction block because he has
Get a little
gambling debts.
spice
So
into it.
yeah, so Derek comes in with his cousin Jeremy and what's Percy, I think. I love Percy. But they come in together and they see this auction happening. And at first Derek is like, okay, we don't need to pay attention. But then he sees a man that has his eye on her, Kelsey's eye. And he is evil. He is like he gets off
A
on
villain.
hurting women, like whipping them and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it's like he's psychotic, okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I cannot let her be sold to him. Like, I won't do it. So he
Mhm.
buys her. And so and that's it's kind of like almost forbidden because of all the scandals in society, like they couldn't be together type of thing too. Like his family's like, no, we can't have another scandal, you can't marry her. And he loves her and he would do anything, but she actually is secretly knows the tongue because she's part of it. But he doesn't know that. So you
Should
know,
I
it
go
kind
grab
of has
this? I
that.
think I have this one. You guys, should we
It's
play
so
that thing
good.
where I go
It's
see
so
if I
good.
have these
And
books?
Jeremy's book is really good with The Thief. Do you remember
I
that
never
one, Lisa?
finished the Mallory Anderson series. What's Jeremy's book? Let me see if I read it.
It's the one I think right after Loving Scoundrel.
Oh no, I never
Happens
read
right
that one.
after. So
Damn
like this woman, she like is dressed up as a thief because she grew up on the streets or whatever.
Mhm.
And she steals from him and he catches her
Oh,
and makes her
disguised as
do
a boy.
yeah, she's
That's
dressed
good.
up as a boy and he knows that it's a woman. Like he can tell like her bone structure is very feminine. So he's
Yeah.
like, you're not a boy. And like then she gets hired on as his servant or whatever in his house. And there's lots of
Are we still
there's
talking
lots
about
of
this one or no? Have we moved
We are
on?
talking about the book right after, but
Okay.
yes, that book. We were
yeah.
talking
So
about.
like he has his cousin Jeremy, and that's the book that we're talking about right now, Loving Scoundrel. And it's Step Back is beautiful too.
Did I get
I love this step back
I
for
have
a Loving
that.
Scoundrel. It's
Oh
so
man,
pretty.
I don't have this one. She's lying on
I
a
want to
bed.
see if I have this one. I might.
Yeah, I love the Mallory series. I think if you're gonna start reading Joanna Lindsey, that's the best series to start with.
Yeah, Joanna Lindsey's writing is something you can just easily fall into. So easy. Love
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's very like it's just very fast paced and it just
Feels
you
like
know.
home. Like it feels comforting when you're reading it. Okay, so
Is it this plain cover? I don't have that.
I have read this one from Sophie Jordan, The Duke Buys a Bride. I actually enjoyed it. It's
That's
four.
in her
like that
like
one too.
long
That was a fun
series
one.
one, right? That has like 6 books in it.
I
The Rogue
believe it has 6. Yeah, it does have 6 books. And
Okay.
in this
And the first one
book,
is like Sleepless in Seattle. Okay.
And
Or While You Were Sleeping.
this book I loved
Yeah.
because it was actually she researched it and there was actually bride buying. So like if a man didn't want his wife anymore, he could just sell her.
Dun,
So
dun, dun.
this actually happened. This actually happened in history. So and it happened all the way up till like I think the 1900s. So in England. So you know, I kind of liked how she researched that and put a little twist on it.
Sophie Jordan books are good because it's like the chemistry is really strong. That's what I feel, and that's why I like it. Like I feel like they're just so attracted to each other. It's so steamy. It's so lovely. But then sometimes the plot falls short, and you're just like, or sometimes like the characters are a little bit crazy, and you're just like, please calm down. Or the plots are unbelievable. Like there was like some plots in this series. I think it's called The Virgin and the Rogue, and the Duke Effect, where the Virgin, the female heroine in The Virgin and the Rogue, she was in heat because she drank a potion and she was
I think I
that's
about this on a video.
Yeah, like she really wanted the Duke, and the Duke was just like, yo, calm down. And then
like she was like climbing him like a tree. Like,
yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean,
really?
Get it, girl.
And then the next book was The Duke Effect, which I liked it a little bit better, but it was also like not like unbelievable. Basically, our heroine was trying to pretend to be her late father because her late father was a doctor and she knew a lot of things about medicine and she wanted to help out other people. So she pretended to be her father. And then the hero is like, you're a fraud. You're lying to like my whole entire family about what your true identity is. I don't even know if you actually know medicine. And then like he forces her to come with him to go save his aunt, I believe. And I was just like, okay. But the Virgin and the Duke, that one I didn't like, and I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars.
I still have the last book. I still have the last book to read in the series, which I'm nervous about because I didn't like her. I can't remember which one it was. I didn't like that sister. She's my least favorite one. And so I'm so nervous to read her book. But I do love Sophie Jordan's backlist. She has a lot of good backlist books too. They're really like, those are 5-star reads for me. Like those were, I think I 5-starred a lot of those.
Ones yet, but I have.
So they're really good. Those are some of my favorites of hers. So
what's her latest novel called? The one that just came out like in the summer. I'm looking for it right now.
Oh,
it's part of the Duke Hunt series. Or is it called Oh, the Duke Goes Down. Okay, that one I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I did not like it. It was so boring.
Really?
Why would you give it?
I haven't read it yet.
That one did just come out.
I still need to read the last book in her previous series.
Okay, well, this one is a part of her new series, and I thought it was so freaking boring, and I thought she was so annoying, because basically our hero wanted money because he's poor, so he wants to marry someone rich, and then our heroine thinks that like he's despicable and tries to like stop him like everywhere he goes. But I'm like, dude, just like calm down for one bit, because like she's insulting him like left, right, and center without him actually even doing anything yet. So
yeah, I have been trying to like slowly just not read as many more recently published historicals, because they and I was talking with Jen from the Book Refuge about this, and we totally agree. A lot of them are lukewarm. They're not like 5-star reads. Like, and I tend to get burnt out with historicals because they're not even, a lot of them aren't 4-star reads for me, and they just tend to be more bland, to me. And so like that's why I've kind of been like rotating with like older historicals. Like I'm going through Margaret Moore's backlist right now.
Oh,
I really like those books, because it's just, I mean, they're older, but I mean, you could read them now. They have very strong heroines that kind of surprised me, like in little ways that I didn't, you kind of don't see coming. Type of thing. Like one of the ones I read, it was a medieval, and it was like an arranged marriage type of setup. And the hero is very protective. He doesn't want to risking her life or anything like this. And so there's this trap that these enemies are trying to set for her to like blackmail the hero or whatever. And because he has lots of money and stuff like that. And she sets a trap of her own for them. Like she totally saw the trap coming and set her own trap. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love that.
Well, I think that's probably like a lot of contemporary traditionally published books are feeling like not very good either. So I think it's just the publishers like just trying to appeal to a wider audience by just being in the middle.
More moderate, I think. And so I think that's why, like, I'm also exploring more into indie romance. It's hard with indie historical romance because I don't like the covers. I struggle with the covers so much. It took me 2 years to read Catherine Lebec. 2 years. I love her books, but most of her covers are so cringe. They're so like bad.
The whole world is a whole different world with indie historical romances. There's just so many, and all the covers either look the same or just look equally bad, and you just don't know which one to pick.
And it's hard. I mean, I am tempted with Elisa Braden because her books have been all over Instagram lately. So
I didn't like it. I didn't like one of her books.
You didn't?
Yeah, it's the one with she has like glowing orange hair and it's curly.
Oh, is it the first one in her recent series?
Maybe like the
Highlander, making of a Highlander or something like that, right?
I didn't like that one because the writing was more telling than showing, and I was like, freak this. When I was like listening to the audiobook, I was like, this is so annoying. Like, okay, like the author's just telling me how she felt, and I want to like show me, like, you know, like why is she feeling sad? Tell me, like, you know. Anyways, I digress.
Okay. I have been curious about her, but I do want to like contemporary. Like I looked at my stats this year, and half my contemporary reading was indie or self pub. It wasn't the traditionally pub, actually. So with contemporary, I tend to like more indie authors actually than traditionally published. But I'm so used with historical romance reading traditionally published that it's, you know, I have to slowly work my way into the indie stuff more. So it's just harder because I'm just such like if a book has a bad cover, I probably won't read it.
Same.
So,
Same.
you know, I can't. Like I have the hardest time with some authors and their covers. Like their covers are just like, oh, why is it so bad? You know?
Yeah. I just took
And
a
it's
look.
hard. It's hard with historical. I know, like you probably just don't even have the type of cover artist that, you know, contemporary or paranormal even have. You know, so it's harder to make them more. But like Jennifer Ashley's books, like her recent like books that have come out in her Mackenzie series, I have not read. And let me tell you something. It's the covers. I don't like the covers.
I
Like
like
because
the
it's the
colors
text.
on those. They're like vibrant.
It's the text on the covers that drive me nuts. Because I think she switched publishers.
Okay.
So I think it's a smaller publishing house, I think.
I feel like
And
all
it's
of
just
these, yeah.
and like Victoria Alexander is the same way. Or I don't know if Victoria Alexander and then also Stephanie Lawrence. They switched their publishers and they've just been doing this weird text on the covers, and
Well,
it's
I
like
honestly
it
think
makes it look
Avon has
worse.
I think Avon has like 2 fonts that they use, and they just do not lend themselves to like the lettering on those fonts are like not ideal. So yeah, I have a big problem with the text on a lot of those covers, but I don't know. I like the colors on those new Jennifer Ashley ones. But yeah, sometimes I see text and I'm like, why did you use that font? Like those 2 lines are like so far apart, and then the one above is like so. Oh my gosh, they need to work it out.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Although I really liked with Roseanne Bittner's new book coming out, she did keep the text that source books used. So, you know, it's not a horrible cover, you know, because I think she did try to match the rest of the series as best as she could, you know.
I'm like looking for like Jennifer Ashley's new covers. What new covers are we talking about? Which series are we talking
Are we
about?
looking at the I thought we were
Mackenzie?
talking about like the Mackenzie ones. I
Oh,
love
where did
those
Bonnie
ones.
go?
I know we lost
I
her.
switched tabs and Bonnie just out. Bonnie's back.
Okay,
Stop it,
sorry. I
Claire.
don't know what happened.
Bonnie's back, guys. Bonnie's back.
I have no idea what happened.
Anyways, I was taking a look at because like Bonnie made a comment about how this year's 2021 historical romances releases were bland, and I was like, really? Because like there's so many historical romances that I read this year that were so good, but then I realized they weren't published this year. They were published like a few years ago, and I'm just reading it now. But the recent 2021 releases that I did read, I looked at them and they're like all 3 stars. Like they're all boring or like they're all bland. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I only had 1 5-star historical this year. That was Elisa Claytis, and so that was published. Yeah, that's the only one.
Oh, that's the one that me and Lisa gave like 3 stars, I think.
Yeah, I loved it.
The Devil,
the
Devil in Disguise. Devil in Disguise.
I'm a big Wallflower stan. Like those books and those characters, I will live and breathe for. So,
oops.
You guys, you know that we have different flavors when it comes to historicals.
Yeah, and I think if you have Genevieve, have you read her Wallflowers? And
I've read most of the Ravenels and most of the Wallflowers. I haven't finished. I have like 20% in spring. I still have to finish, and I haven't read Again the Magic.
Okay.
But otherwise, I've read those ones. And then for the Ravenels, the only ones I haven't finished are the Doctor one. I'm like halfway through it, and then I don't even think I'm gonna read Cold Hearted Rake because the consensus seems to be that it's not good.
The only reason to read that is to get the full story
Uh-huh.
for Reese.
Like lay the groundwork.
for Reese's book.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, is the only reason
Reese's
like I
story
would
is
reread
so
that
good.
ever. Like because he's probably my favorite hero in the series, I think.
I love a burly
I don't know.
Welshman.
I love Kira, but I don't know. There was something about Reese at the end there that I loved because I didn't expect him to react that way, and then he's just so like I loved it. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of the books in the Ravenels I didn't really like.
Yeah. I think
so.
The best ones for me are Chasing Cassandra. That one I think is probably my number one, and then I really do like Marrying Winterborn and Devil in Spring.
Yeah, Tom's
all the
amazing.
other ones I don't need.
Yeah, I know a lot of the other ones, like a couple of them, I probably would have DNF'd if it wasn't Lisa Kleypas writing. You know,
you guys,
like,
I didn't like. Was her name Phoebe or Daphne? I didn't like her story like at all.
The one I liked the least was the Doctor's story.
Yeah.
I'm still halfway.
I'm sorry, I did not like that. I mean,
No,
it was very close for me putting that down. I'm
gonna stick with it because I love an Irishman. I'm sticking with it because I love him.
Yeah, I know. Stick with it. I mean, the hero kept me going with that story. It was the hero that kept me, that redeemed the book for me. But the heroine, I was very disappointed in. I was so because of Marrying Winterborn, she's such a I loved her character, and then in her book, I'm like, no, I just couldn't like her. So.
This one, I think you should read the Wallflowers series.
Wallflowers,
first.
definitely, because a lot of the Ravenels is based on characters from the Wallflowers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the second generation, but you are stepping down, I think, in quality by reading Wallflowers and then Ravenels.
I don't think so. I think the Wallflowers beats Ravenels.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No,
you start Wallflowers and then you go to Ravenels.
No.
Step down.
No. We're all on the same page on this one.
No, okay, because I feel like the Ravenels.
That you are getting the better. You're starting with dessert, is what you're doing.
Yeah, it's true because I feel like when she went contemporary and then she came back, she kind of lost some of her magic.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And I don't even like her contemporaries.
I love her contemporaries, but I think when she switched genres back, I think the magic that she had in her previous historicals was kind of lost a little bit, in my opinion. I mean, because most of them I've struggled with. There's only been a few I've loved, so it's But I mean, I love her as an author. I think she's amazing. I listened to an interview she did with Sarah at Smart Bitches, and it was so fun because she just sounded like the sweetest, like Southern lady. So, but I love her. I mean, I'll always read her books. She's an autobiographer.
I love the Wallflowers books, but half of the Ravenels I don't care for. I read Sugar Daddy. That was like, did I give that 3 stars? And then I read Blue-Eyed Devil, and that was like a 2-star read for me. So
see, that was 5-star for me. That's where we're different.
Is that a love triangle or no?
Sugar Daddy isn't.
Sugar Daddy, you spend half the book in her childhood, so like,
it's more. It's built up for the hero and book 2.
Yeah, there's like
it's what it is. So.
I don't even remember his name, Gage. I need justice for him because, like, you hardly got anything for him.
Yeah, he didn't get much page time. It was more about building up for Blue-Eyed Devil. Yeah, is what it was. So Blue-Eyed Devil was a 5-star read for me. I loved it. It just, and I probably was in the right mood for it too. I loved it. The third book I liked too a lot. That was cute. I haven't read the 4th one yet, but that was more recently came out. So.
I have all 4, and after reading the first 2, I was like, do I even need to? I don't know.
The third one's cute. So
is that the one like photographer?
So like the heroine, she
is that Strangers?
She kind of has this little girl that she's taking care of. I think it's her sister or something. It's her sister's daughter, but her sister doesn't really want to be a mom. So she kind of takes care of her. and she would like to adopt her or whatever, but her sister or whoever she's doing it for won't allow her to do it. And so it's kind of like that journey. And then she meets the Travis brother. I can't remember his name, and they kind of just have like, this little meet cute, and it's adorable. And, it's a fun story, I thought, but you might like that a little bit more. Her other contemporary series is a little bit more, there's a lot more alpha males in those. There's magic, and there's,
Blue Eye Devil was just so dark. So much
It's
stuff
dark.
happens on the page, and I was like,
it is.
"What
It's
are we
dark.
doing here? I don't."
Yeah.
Lisa, why did you take me here? I should not let you take me to secondary locations.
Yeah, it's a dark book. It is. Yeah, you kind of have to be emotionally and mentally ready for it. So in order to enjoy it.
After I read that, I was like, Lisa, who do we have to talk to?
Yeah.
I am unwell.
Yeah, I think her contemporaries, it's a love or you hate it situation. There's really no middle ground with those.
And she has that like Cove series too, right?
That's her other
series or something. Yeah.
And those are more,
I don't like those.
They are more mad. There's some magic in them, like more mystical type themes in it. So it's not going to be for everyone. I enjoyed them, but there's a lot of mixed reviews on it. So her contemporaries for some reason were just
my review for those are good for you, Lisa. Those are my reviews.
Yeah, they're not going to work for everyone, that's for sure. So, but I love her older like historicals a lot. I love pretty much every historical.
Those ones that are out of print and that are like $100?
No, I have not read those.
I have
those
two
are the
of
only
them.
ones. Wow. Everything else I have read. The ones that you can actually get.
The ones that you can actually get. Yeah.
I have Love Come to Me and Something About Tonight.
Yeah.
So then the first two I don't have.
Yeah, I'd like to get those someday, but who knows if they'll ever. It would be nice if they could reprint those,
You can't even get them on ebook. There's no way unless you find them in person somewhere. There's no way you're going to read those.
Them. She needs to give the rights to a publisher, and then she can get that.
Does
she really should. I really love.
I don't know.
I have a feeling it's pretty telling that you can't even get them digitally. So
from what I hear from like Lacey, who owned the books and actually read it from like physical format, it was a lot rougher than, because it was like her first couple books, so it's a lot rougher. It's like different. It's wild. So yeah, but she liked one of them. One of them she gave 4 stars, but the others, like, it was like 2 stars. Like, it wasn't great.
It makes sense. I mean, when you're an author and you're first starting out, you're gonna have books that are,
She's young too. She just graduated from university, walked the path.
She's still young. Like, you look at her and she doesn't, she looks still pretty young. So I mean,
yeah, she's like a babe, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's gorgeous, by the way. She was so pretty. Yeah. So she, I love her Bow Street Runners series is really good. I like those.
We've talked about this many times. Those ones. Yeah,
those were my first books from her. So I'm kind of biased. Okay, because Lady Sophia's Lover, I love.
Ross is your number one.
He's my number one. I love. He is just such a good, solid hero. Like, he is so good and pure and just, like, there's nothing bad about that hero. There's nothing. Like, he is just good, at the heart and soul of who he is, so I love him. So the third book, however, he's a bad boy.
Is that Tempt Me?
That's Tempt Me. No, it's not Tempt Me. It's, what is it?
Is it the one with, like, it's her back, right? And it's like a white dress.
Isn't it yellow? I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the hero is the brother of the heroine in Lady Sophia's Lover. So it's Sophia's brother, and he's, bit of an anti-hero a bit. So, you have that kind of dynamic, but it's really, really good. I really liked it. So he's very protective in his book. So, like, the heroine is on the run, because her parents pretty much sold her to this very bad guy. And so she's on the run hiding, and he was hired to hunt her down. Basically.
It's a huntsman situation.
Yeah, it is.
The
So,
Snow
and
White
then
and the
he
Huntsman
finds her,
situation.
and also it has Westcliff in it, I believe. It
Okay.
has Marcus,
The very medium man.
if I remember, before his book. So he's very protective of her. So he learns the truth about her situation and instead offers to marry her to protect her. So it's kind of that type of situation. So yeah.
I love a protective hero.
So this was really fun, guys. Current read. Anybody in the middle of reading something right now? I am currently reading Death by Laura Thalassa. I got an ARC copy. I'm very excited.
I hope that's so good.
I saw that
can't
update.
wait.
Yeah.
This book
I was
is
like, girl, people will
thick.
pay you for that book.
What did you say? What'd you say?
I was like, Lisa, people are going to take that book from you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like
People want it.
I know. Lacey. It's Lacey. So Lacey knows all the ins and she knows all the details about things. Like she always wins Facebook contests too as well, because she's always on Facebook entering these contests and she wins like grand prizes. But she was like, oh, I got an arc of famine. And I'm like, how the frick did you get an arc of famine? She's like, oh, like you have to join her Facebook group. And I was like, okay, fine. So I joined Laura's Facebook group. And then I'm like looking for like the arc fill out form for Death. And I was like, Lacey, like, can you like let me know when you get like the arc fill out form for like Death? And she's like, yeah. And she tagged me and she reminded me. She's like, go sign up, go see if you can get it. And I got the arc and I am maybe 80% in. Like I'm almost done. I have an hour and 30 minutes left of this book, but this book is like 513 pages or something. It's the longest one yet. Very long, but it's possibly my favorite. Like Death.
Oh, really?
What? Okay, wait. Who read like Bonnie, did you read the other books? Like all
Yeah,
three?
I think War is my favorite.
Okay.
I really
have
love
no
War.
interest in any of these books.
Personally, I don't see you enjoying these, Genevieve. They're very anti-hero, like very like but there's a lot of growth in them. You know, a lot of character growth, like a ton. Like
people
it's
love
so
them,
good.
and I'm happy for you. God bless, not for me, but
yeah, I'm so excited to read it when it comes out. I can't wait. I like to listen to them, so I'll wait till it comes out.
After I finished Famine was my least favorite, I think. But after I finished Famine, I was like, oh gosh, like Death is like a dark character because he's like wanting to kill everyone. And I didn't expect him to be this character in Death, like in his own book. So that's why I like him the best. And the pacing was just faster than Famine. I felt like Famine was too slow for me. And then Pestilence was a lot of heavy enemies to lovers. And then War was like, a little bit more insta love, and then Famine was like a little bit more like second chance. And this one is kind of insta love, but it's slower pace insta love, so I like that more. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm
excited. Yeah, I'm gonna start tonight Electric Idol.
Ooh,
Katie
I never
Robert.
got an arc of that yet.
Yeah, so I'm approved. I get approved for any source books. So me and a girl I like to buddy read books a lot with. I have two of them, and one of them she got the arc too. So we're like, well, let's just buddy read this together. So we're gonna do it tonight. So I'm excited. I loved Neon Gods. Neon Gods was so good.
I haven't read that because I'm so afraid. I love Hades and Persephone, but there are so many retellings that I'm like, I don't know. Will I love them all? Some of them
I don't know. There's another series that's really popular. What is it called? By
the Darkness
Scarlet.
One, right?
Yeah.
St. James.
Yeah,
I've read those ones.
I have those. I have those in print and I want to read them, but I'm like kind of nervous because I'm like, how is it going to compare to Neon Gods?
Well, I haven't read Neon Gods, so I don't know, but this is definitely like pretty fantasy, but in like a contemporary setting. Is it the same for Neon Gods? Is there any sort of magical element?
There is. So in Neon Gods, it is contemporary setting, but it does have it's loose retelling of Persephone and Hades. So it's not like super like back to back about the story. It has a more looser retelling on
well,
it.
the Scarlet St. James ones are pretty loose too. It feels like Lore Olympus in that it's like pretty kind of like a dark universe, but they have like cell phones and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's like that. But I also like how that series, I haven't read the most recent one, but she also has like companion books for Hades, his perspective of like the books too. So you get like
I never
two
know
sides.
how I feel about those. I'd rather have them be in the same book, like back to back
It
chapters
was
or whatever.
interesting
Is
though
how I
because
prefer it.
Hades has like more story. Like he has his own like mysteries he's solving too in his side. So like otherwise it would have been like pretty boring, I feel like, to just see like the same interactions just like from his point of view. But there are like other things happening in the background for him. I just feel like I'm burnt out on that series and I haven't read the next ones in it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the last time I went to Barnes and Noble, they had the third one in that series, but it was in
They only have
hardcover.
hardcover. They don't
Yeah, they
have
have
the paperback of Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I want to
They
wait till
only have
it's in
hardcover.
paperback so that my whole
I don't
set
know that
is the
Barnes and Noble
same.
ever will though, because they only have the.
Well, it's on Amazon, I think, in
It
paperback
is in
trade
paperback,
now.
but like
So
Barnes and Noble only has the
only has it in
hardcovers.
hardcover right now for
Yeah, and also
some
for
reason.
Ember and Ash, the Jennifer L. Armentrout one, they only carry that one in hardcover too. But like all
That's
of my
interesting.
Scarlet St. James ones are in trade because I got them from Amazon print on demand. But
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble will only have the hardcover, and they're like $30. Like,
Well, the first two they
Barnes
have
and
in
Noble,
paperback
hard
now.
pass.
The first two they have in paperback. They have
Okay.
in trade paperback right now. That's how I got them. Is I just saw them at Barnes and Noble and I grabbed them
because
I
they
was
used to
grab
only
the
carry
third.
the hardcover.
Yeah, so maybe they're, slowly putting in the trade ones now. So, but I love the feel of the trade. They feel so nice.
Of course. All right, Genevieve, what are you reading right now?
I think I'm in between reads, so I might read one of my new ones that I just got.
Nice.
Yeah, I have maybe I'll read the Duke Heist so I can read the second one that Erica really just did. Because
Duke
I haven't read
Heist.
that
Oh
one.
wait, I read that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. You'll like that a lot. Because I want to read the second one that just came out.
The Perks of Loving a Wallflower.
Yeah. Because we see like in the first one, it kind of teases that relationship a little bit. So I'm really excited for their story. So
yeah, I want to read that.
Yeah, it's really cute. So I can't wait.
To read A Reckless Match from Kate
Bateman. Have you seen the cover for the next one?
No, I don't think I have.
For 2022?
No, I don't think I saw the cover. I'll have to look into that.
It is so pretty. It's like very like it has greenery in the back. And then she has like this purple pink dress. It's so pretty.
Wait, what's her arm doing? Her arm's weird. Genevieve is gonna say something about it.
Oh yeah, now she's gonna say something about the arm.
Let me see.
It's weird. And then like the belt is there. It's weird.
It's okay. Well, it's like part of her. Well, it looks like he's holding the one hand. Then the other arm is kind of like on her like thigh
Can you
something.
See?
So he's like this. I didn't even notice that. I just thought her arm was weird around his waist, but you're like, okay, so he looks.
No,
like
that's not her arm. That's not her arm.
He's fisting his own chest just like this.
That's not her arm.
Yeah.
That's his like I think like that's part of his clothing.
Oh yeah, like his
sash.
Are you
sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's not holding her arm against his chest?
He's holding her hand against his chest.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing that.
Okay, and then on the other side, her hand's like on her waist or thigh in a weird way. But yeah, but it looks like her arm. It looks like her arm is like under his jacket or whatever, but that's not her arm. That's just his color of his clothing or whatever, I think. Yeah. So yeah, but then you have some covers like the Christina Dodd that has 3 arms.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting one. Castle in the Air. Or
guys,
something.
Hot take. I don't love this Kate Bateman cover. I like the first one much better. I like the
That's
first
Yeah,
one a lot
I
better.
did you see how I think the publisher came out with how they did the cover on the first one?
Yeah, where it was like a photo of them and then he was doing colors.
Mm-hmm.
like
I
behind the
thought that was
scenes.
kind of cool. Like, yeah, they did a 3 set like behind the scenes, like
Mhm.
photos of
My problem
the
with this one is that if you look at them like this from far away, you're like just a thumbnail. There's so much brown in it. That's what I don't like about it.
yeah, like the stone of the building.
Yeah, it looks like way too brown. It looks like it's like dead
Dirty.
foliage. Yeah, it looks dirty, exactly. So yeah, that's my problem with it.
I can see that, but when you
Hot
look at it
take from a designer
closer,
illustrator.
I'm looking at it on Goodreads with the new book page, so it's big.
Mhm.
So look, when you see it big, it looks really pretty. So
Alright.
with the stone buildings and stuff. So
It'll look prettier in real life and on our bookshelves.
yeah.
But thumbnails have to sell too, you guys.
Ah!
Thumbnails have to sell too.
Okay. Anyways, it's been really fun chatting with you guys, talking about Bewitching by Jill Barnett. And yeah. Any last things to say? This is probably going to be our last meeting for quite some time. We're spacing it out a bit because getting quite busy with the Christmas season coming around the corners.
Mhm.
But we enjoyed this time that we had together, and thank you for joining us on our live chat. And we'll see you guys next time.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.